The space around the Tari research fleet was quiet, too quiet. Their engines were low on fuel, their systems strained, and panic was spreading. On the edge of a dying star system, they floated exposed and surrounded. The Vrax hunter ships had arrived. 12 black ships in a tight circle, weapons charged and ready. The Tari, a peaceful and intelligent species, had no weapons. Their ships were made for science, not for war. Inside the lead Tari vessel, Captain Lyra stood frozen, watching the blinking lights on the holographic screen. Every exit route was blocked. "They're toying with us," whispered one of the young Tari officers. His voice trembled. Captain Lyra nodded. "They always do." The Vrax were not just hunters. They were known across the stars for wiping out entire ships and colonies, not for conquest, but for pleasure. And now the Tari were next. Families huddled together. Scientists tried to send last messages to their home world. The youngest among them had never seen war. Some had never even seen fear until now. Outside, the Vrax ships began to rotate, slowly, like wolves circling prey. "They want us to beg," another officer said. "We don't beg," Lyra said quietly. But her hands were shaking. A red light flashed, an incoming message. The Vrax commander's voice filled the control room, rough and cold. "This is Commander Jor of the Vrax Empire. You have 1 minute to open your airlocks. No resistance. Or we take what we want by force." Lyra stared at the timer counting down. 60 seconds. Everyone in the room looked at her. Some with hope. Others already in silent defeat. "Do we surrender?" A crew member asked. Before she could answer, another alarm began to sound. But this time, it wasn't Vrax. A single ship had entered the system. A small dot on the edge of the holographic. "Map? What is that?" asked one of the crew. "Another Vrax ship?" said another. "No," said the scanner officer slowly. It's not Vrax. It's single quotes S. unknown." The ship didn't match any known species. It was black, small, and moving fast. Too fast for a transport, too agile for a warship. Then, over the Tari channel, a voice spoke. A human voice. "This is Captain Ray, human warfighter. Got your signal? Sit tight." The control room went silent. "Human?" Lyra whispered. "Earth? We sent no request to Earth." "No," said another, checking the signal log. "Someone must have relayed our signal to them." Outside, the Vrax fleet paused. For the first time. "Why are they not firing?" asked a Tari engineer, because the Vrax remembered the stories. Whispers of Earth's soldiers. Lone fighters. Deathworlders. On the Vrax flagship, Commander Jor growled. "That can't be a real Terran. They're just stories." But one of his officers looked nervous. "What if it is? They say humans don't send fleets. They send one. Just one." Jor slammed his fist on the panel. "It doesn't matter. We outnumber him. End it now." At that moment, Ray's ship powered up. A ripple moved through the darkness. His ship didn't fire. It didn't even aim. It just moved. Fast. Fast. Then a light blinked on the Tari screen. One of the Vrax ships dashed, destroyed. No warning. No explosion sound. Just gone. The crew stared in disbelief. What just happened? Lyra shouted. Another blink. A second Vrax ship vanished. This time, the hologram caught it. A being thin as a thread. Silent, cut through the ship like it was paper. Ray's voice returned. "I suggest you hold position. I don't miss twice." The Vrax fleet broke formation slightly. Confusion. Panic. Ray had not just fired. He had aimed with purpose. "Who is he?" a Tari officer whispered. Lyra swallowed hard. "A ghost, maybe. But he's on our side." In space, Ray's ship drifted forward. Not fast now. Slow. Calm. his voice steady and cold. "You wanted easy prey. You found something else." The Vraks backed off a little more. Their commander hesitated. They hadn't expected resistance, especially not from a single human. But now everything had changed. Inside the Tari vessel, a child who had been crying now looked out the window. "Who is that man?" The child asked. Captain Lyra smiled slightly, her voice softer. "Hope," she said. The hunters had circled. The trap had closed, but the human had entered the field. And now the hunt was about to change. The Tari fleet floated in silence. No one moved, no one breathed. They all stared at the single human ship standing between them and the deadly Vrax hunters. It wasn't large. It didn't look like a warship. In fact, it looked old-worn, dark, and strange. But something about it made even the Vraks hesitate. Inside the Tari command center, Captain Lyra ordered a secure line to the mysterious human. "This is Captain Lyra of the Tari science vessel. Who are you?" The voice came back almost instantly. Calm, sharp. Names: Ray, human, war-trained. "This system is now under Earth's protection." Lyra blinked. Earth? They had no contact with Earth. No treaty. No promise of help. Yet here he was, alone. She tried again. "Ray, you're just one ship. There are 12 hunter vessels out there." 13, Ray corrected her, but not for long. Suddenly, one of the Tari crew gasped. "He's powering down his shields." "What?" Lyra turned toward the screen. Ray's ship. Lights were dimming. Its outer shield flickered and faded. "He's dropping his protection?" Why? They all waited for something to happen. Anything. Then they saw it. Ray's ship wasn't powered by defense. It was powered by fear. Inside his cockpit, Ray pressed a button marked "To Class Protocol." A soft chime echoed, and the onboard system spoke. "Warning. Activating Deep Combat Core." Neural sync initiated. Metal lines crawled along his skin. The ship linked to his nervous system. He became the ship. The ship became him. He whispered, "Time to remind them who we are." The Vrax fleet, watching his every move, didn't see it coming. In 1 second, Ray vanished. Not the ship Ray. The entire Tari fleet blinked as the small human vessel disappeared from sensors. No sound, no trail. Just gone. The Vrax commander shouted across his bridge. Where did he go? On one of the outer hunter ships, alarm screamed too late. A bright line tore through its hull. The ship exploded in silence. Back on the Tari. Screen blip. Another Vrax ship gone. "He's invisible," whispered the Tari scanner. Lyra's voice shook. "He's not using stealth. He's phasing. Moving in and out of this space." Another Tari officer leaned closer to the panel. "That ship isn't normal. It's not a fighter. It's a ghost." Inside Ray's cockpit, screens danced with data. Enemies, speeds, weapon charge rates. 3 down, he muttered. 10 to go. Suddenly, the Vrax flagship sent a signal to Earth. The Vrax were not afraid of much, but they had fought humans before. Long ago, quietly, and those who survived had one thing in common. They never attacked a human warfighter again. Commander Jor was shaking now. "Send the retreat code." But his second officer shouted, "We'll be hunted by the other clans. If we flee from one man." Jor's voice cracked. "Better hunted by clans than ended by him." On the Tari ship, they saw the Vrax fleet begin to break formation. "They're running?" Someone said. Lyra stepped forward. "No, they're not running. They're surviving." But Ray wasn't done. He appeared again, his ship now glowing from heat. "Not damage power. Attention Vrax," Ray said over open channels. His voice was like stone. "Next move determines who makes it home." No reply. "Then one ship stupid." Proud launched a missile. Ray didn't dodge. He caught it, mid-space, with a gravity net. The Tari crew gasped. Ray turned the missile, aimed it, and launched it back, straight into the heart of the Vrax formation. The blast lit up the void. 2 ships gone. Ray's voice returned calm and soft. 5. Inside the Tari vessel, no one spoke for a moment. Then someone whispered, "Is he even human?" Captain Lyra stared at the screen and answered, "No, he's something more." The space around the battlefield had gone still, cold, silent. 5 Vrax ships destroyed. 1 human warfighter alive. But this silence was not peace, it was fear. Inside the Vrax flagship, Commander Jor stood frozen. His claws tapped nervously on the metal console. Around him, his officers waited for orders. No one spoke. They had never seen this before. Not in simulations, not in real battles. Just 1 ship. 1 man. "How is he doing this?" Jor muttered. "He has no support. Number. Fleet. Nothing." "He is human," said one officer quietly. "And humans don't fight like we do," Jor growled. "I know the old stories. Half of them are lies." Another officer leaned in. "But the other half, they say Terrans don't conquer. They end wars with silence." Meanwhile, in the Tari ship, the crew watched Ray's ship float calmly among the Vrax, not moving, not attacking, waiting. Captain Lyra stared at the sensors. "He's playing with them. He could have destroyed more," her officer said. "He didn't need to," Lyra replied. "He's inside their heads now." Back on the Vrax ship, Jor slammed a clawed hand on the console. "Send 3 ships. Corner him. No escape." 3 hunter ships peeled away from formation and moved in slowly. They circled Ray's ship, scanning, measuring, tracking. One of the Vrax captains smirked. "He's not invisible now. Weak. Let's finish this." They charged, but as they closed, something strange happened. Ray's ship didn't move. It flipped. Like a leaf in water. It spun once, then split in 2. Not broken. Not damaged. Transformed. The small black ship opened its frame wings, unfolding, weapons sliding out like knives from shadows. It wasn't 1 ship anymore. It was many. Dozens of small drones detached, each glowing red, silent, floating like angry stars. "What are those?" Jor gasped. The ship's AI spoke inside Ray's cockpit. "Predator swarm mode. Active." Ray whispered, "Let's test their fear." With no warning, the drones darted toward the Vrax trio. Fast. Too fast. The Vrax pilots couldn't react. 1 ship's engine burst into flames. Another lost navigation. The 3rd went completely dark. Systems shut down. Floating helplessly in space. From the Tari ship, the crew watched in disbelief. They didn't even fire back. They couldn't. "They panicked," Lyra said softly. Their fear froze. Them. In Vrax command, the silence had returned. Jor stared at the display. He's using no language, no taunts. He lets silence do the work. 1 young Vrax soldier finally spoke. "They say humans train for chaos. They live on death worlds. They are born in storms." Jor turned slowly. "Where did you hear that?" "My brother fought Terrans in the Silent Reach. He said they don't conquer with numbers. They conquer with mind games." Another officer added, "They call it psychological warfare." Jor's fists tightened. On Ray's ship, he watched the Vrax hesitation. Every delay, every moment of silence was a weapon. No, he didn't need more firepower. He needed doubt to grow inside their minds. His AI chimed in. Enemy fleet breaking ranks. 4 ships repositioning. No coordination. Ray nodded. Fear is the best tool in war. Then, to make it worse, Ray activated old Earth radio music. A slow piano began to play soft. Human, emotional. The Vrax fleet heard it on every channel. Some flinched. Some screamed. They didn't understand the words, but the calmness in the music was terrifying. What is this signal? Jor roared. Is he taunting us? No, an officer said. He's showing us he's not worried. And that scared them more than anything. Back on the Tari ship, Captain Lyra turned to her officer. Do you feel it too? Yes, he replied. It's not just the weapons, it's who he is. Lyra whispered. He's changing the battlefield without firing. In Ray's cockpit, he spoke once more. I will give you one chance, Vrax. Leave, or I finish this. Commander Jor's hand hovered over the attack command. He looked around. His crew's eyes were wide. Some were shaking. He could win a battle, maybe. But he had already lost the war in their minds. He slammed his fist on the console, not to attack, but to retreat. All ships fall back. And just like that, the hunters ran. Ray's ship powered down. The drones returned. The music faded. Inside the Tari ship, cheers filled the air. Captain Lyra stood tall. She had seen legends. She had seen fear change sides. But most of all, she had seen one human break an empire without saying much at all. Asterisk, the Vrax fleet was retreating. But not all of them. One hunter ship stayed behind. Bigger than the others. Sharper. Older. The Bloodfang. It was the personal ship of a Vrax. Warrior named Callan, old legend among his kind. He wasn't afraid of stories. He didn't believe in ghosts. He only believed in kills. And today he wanted to kill a human. Everyone else is running, said Kale, staring at Ray's silent ship. That's fine. I'll bring the Terrans. Body back myself. He powered his weapons. 4 plasma cannons locked onto Ray's ship. Long-range missiles loaded. Defense shields at full. In the Tari ship. Captain Lyra saw it happening. One Vrax ship didn't retreat, her officer said. Lyra stepped closer. Who would be foolish enough to stay? The screen zoomed in. Her eyes widened. Kale, she whispered. The Butcher of Eridos. The crew gasped. Everyone knew the name. Kale had destroyed 3 colonies alone. He'd killed thousands. Never been beaten. Never retreated. And now he was aiming at Ray. Inside Ray's cockpit. The warning lights flashed. Incoming threat. High risk. The ships. AI spoke calmly. Target locked. Heavy class destroyer approaching. 97% chance of attack. Ray narrowed his eyes. Finally, he said. A real one. He took off his gloves. The neural wires under his skin lit up. Blue sparks danced between his fingers. His mind became one with the ship. Combat core open, he ordered. Panels shifted. The ship changed shape again. Its sleek body spread wide like wings, armor unfolding like dragon scales. Then it spoke. Authorization accepted. Ray, you are now in control of Hellburn 1. The Vrax ship fired first. 4 missiles roared across space. Ray didn't move. Instead, the missiles stopped mid-flight, then exploded one by one, without ever touching his ship. Kale growled. He hacked them. He launched plasma blasts. Ray's ship spun, smooth like a dancer. Not dodging dash, playing. The Tari crew watched in silence. He's not flying, said one officer. No, Lyra replied. He's floating through death. Then Ray moved. Faster. Then any scanner could follow. 1 second he was far away. The next he was on top of Kale's ship. His lasers didn't fire like others. They cut like scalpels, precise, deadly, clean. The Bloodfang's outer shield cracked. Then a second hit deep and fast pierced straight through the Vrax hole. Inside his ship. Kale screamed. He's targeting our nerves. He knows where our weak spots are. Correct, Ray whispered into the comms. I studied you. You never studied us. Another blast. This time, a spear-like plasma burst pierced Kale's ship from the bottom. Alarm screamed. Fires lit inside. One of Kale's arms was bleeding. He stared at the flame around him and realized something terrible. The human hadn't fired to kill him. Quickly, Ray was breaking him slowly. Inside the Tari ship, the crew watched Kale's vessel tilt and spin. Is Ray ... torturing him? A young officer asked. No, Lyra answered. He's showing the others what happens when they stay. Kale tried to retreat, tried to signal for help, but it was too late. Ray activated a strange cannon on the bottom of his ship. Something ancient, something forbidden. The beam wasn't light. It was silence. A pulse wave spread from Ray's ship like a ripple in still water. The sound vanished. The stars went dim, and Kale's ship disintegrated. Not exploded. It vanished, torn apart at the molecular level. Dust. Nothing more. One of the greatest Vrax hunters in the galaxy, gone in less than 6 seconds. Ray's voice returned, cold and final. That was the first kill, and the last warning. The remaining Vrax ships, still trying to leave the system, received the final transmission from Kale's ship. Static. Then silence. They knew what that meant. The man wasn't bluffing. He wasn't lucky. He was trained to end threats. Inside the Tari vessel, the crew erupted in cheers. They had witnessed something few species had ever seen. Captain Lyra looked at her officer and whispered, he didn't just kill Kale. He made sure the Vrax would never forget his name. The officer nodded. He turned the war into a message. The message was simple. Never hunt when the human is watching. The space went quiet again. Too quiet. The Vrax hunters were gone. Kale's mighty warship was nothing but scattered particles in space. But Ray didn't celebrate. Inside his dark cockpit, Ray sat in silence, his eyes glowing faintly with neural lines. His hands rested on the control board, steady, calm, cold. The ship's AI spoke softly. Kill confirmed. Threat eliminated. Combat systems standing by. But Ray didn't respond. He just stared at the screen where Kale's ship used to be. A long pause. Then he whispered to himself, you chose the wrong galaxy to make a mess in. Inside the Tari vessel, Captain Lyra and her crew were still frozen. The room was filled with stunned silence, then whispers. Was he really alone? Is that human even real? I've never seen power like that. But also precision. Lyra slowly sat down. Her voice was low, thoughtful. No, that was not a normal soldier. That was something built. Back in Ray's ship, the AI chirped again. Incoming encrypted message from Earth Command. Ray sighed. Of course they're watching. He opened the message. A simple screen blinked to life. No sound. Just a glowing symbol, a black eagle with a sword through a star. The symbol of Project Hellburn. Ray's jaw tightened. The screen read, stay in the field. You are still needed. He stared at it for a moment, then muttered, you said I could leave. You said that war was over. No reply. The message faded, but the meaning was clear. Earth had sent him again. Because only he could do what no one else would. Flashback. Years ago. Ray stood in a room filled with glowing pods. Inside them were soldiers like him, but not quite. Some failed. Some lost control. Others died during training. He was the only one who completed the program. Built not to lead armies, not to raise flags, but to be a weapon with a heartbeat. They didn't call him human. They called him the End. Back in real time, Ray's ship scanned the area. He sent a message to the Tari ship. You're safe now, but don't stay long. Vrax don't forget. And Earth doesn't always send two. Inside the Tari bridge, Lyra opened the channel. We owe you our lives, she said. No, you owe me silence, Ray replied. Forget I was ever here. Lyra frowned. Why? Ray answered slowly. Because if the galaxy knows what I am, Earth will stop pretending we're peaceful. Suddenly, his ship lit up red. The AI announced, Unknown ship entering system. High speed, unregistered. Ray sat up straight. More Vrax? The scan completed. No, not Vrax, not known. Energy signature, ... human. Ray narrowed his eyes. Impossible. Earth didn't send anyone else. Then the unknown ship sent a direct signal to Ray. Only. Him ... no sound ... just one message. You left one of us behind. Ray froze. His hands clenched. It was a voice from the past. A name he hadn't heard in years. Another weapon. Another human. Another Hellborn. Inside the Tari vessel, scanners lit up too. Captain, new ship incoming. Fast. Design unknown. Another enemy? No, Lyra said slowly, watching Ray's reaction on her screen. This is something personal. Ray locked eyes with the dark screen. I watched you die, he whispered. And the other ship finally responded. A female voice, calm, emotionless. No, you just left before I woke up. Ray stood up in the cockpit. Everything changed. He wasn't alone anymore. The AI spoke softly. What do you want to do, Ray? He stared at the glowing screen. His voice was quiet. Prepare all systems. This isn't war anymore. This is family. The human weapon had just shown the galaxy what one man could do. Now, there were two, and no one was ready for what came next. Asterisk. The space between the stars had turned deadly quiet. Two human warfighters now floated in the system. Ray, and the one he thought was gone forever. Her ship was long, silent, and darker than shadow. It made no sound, showed no light, and yet it felt alive. Ray stared at the screen. Her voice still echoed in his mind. You left one of us behind. He hadn't answered yet. Inside his ship, the AI whispered, Signal origin confirmed. Pilot identity, Unit 11. Codename, Myra. Status, classified deceased. Ray closed his eyes. Myra. He remembered her. They were trained in the same facility, slept in steel rooms, ate from the same ration trays, fought side by side in testing domes, filled with synthetic monsters and fire. She was better than him, smarter, faster, colder. But in their final mission, she vanished in a deep space ambush. He'd seen her ship break apart. He thought she was gone, and yet here she was, inside the Tari vessel. Captain Lyra could feel it in her chest. Double quotes. This ... feels different, she said. Her crew nodded, afraid to speak. Are they enemies? One asked. Lyra watched Ray's ship slowly rotate toward the newcomer. No, she whispered. This is something deeper. Like wolves meeting after a long hunt. Myra's voice returned, calm and sharp. You shouldn't have activated Hellburn. Protocol again. Ray replied at last. They were going to kill them. I didn't have a choice. You always have a choice, she said. There was a long pause. Then she added, they activated me too, and now I want payback. Ray's heart skipped. Payback? He asked. You fought the Vrax, Mira said. But you let their high nest live. They command the hunters. I tracked them. They're gathering fleets to strike again. Ray stood in his cockpit. Where? Her ship turned slightly, revealing a cloaked gate signal on the edge of the system. Through there, she answered. But it's not just them. They've allied with others. Pirates, slavers, galaxy scum. Ray clenched his fists. So they didn't run. They regrouped. Exactly, she said. And this time, I'm not letting them escape. Ray opened a private channel to the Tari ship. Captain Lyra? Yes, Ray? She replied quickly. You need to leave this system. Now, the Vracs are preparing a second wave. It won't be like the first. Lyra hesitated. You're going after them, aren't you? I'm not alone this time. What are you? She asked. Ray thought for a moment. Then he replied, I'm the reason monsters sleep with one eye open. He ended the call. Myra's ship opened its side hatches. Hundreds of small drones poured out, forming a sphere around her vessel. Some were scanners, others miniature missiles. They moved in perfect silence, orbiting her ship like angry stars. Ray watched her prepare. He smiled slightly. You kept your edge, he said. I kept everything, she replied. Even the rage. Ray's AI spoke. Incoming Vrax transmission. Scrambled, encrypted. Play it, Ray ordered. A garbled voice came through, full of static and panic. TERRANS ... breach. Defense lines. Unknown weapon types. Emergency protocol. Request backup ... Ray looked at Myra. She raised her hand and made a slicing motion. The signal cut off. She jammed it. No one's coming to save them, she said coldly. It's our turn now. Ray activated full power. His ship's engines flared blue. Mira's ship matched speed beside him. Two shadows, one purpose. They shot forward through the hidden gate, vanishing into deep space. Inside the Vrax high nest. A heavily guarded system far away. Alarms suddenly screamed. One scout had detected something. Two fast-moving objects entering from a direction they never thought possible. Vrax warlords scrambled to ready ships, but it was already too late, because the hunters were now the hunted. Asterisk. The Vrax high nest wasn't just a military base. It was a floating fortress, 10 moons wide, covered in weapons, shields, and layers of defense ships. No enemy had ever reached its core. Until today. Two lights appeared at the edge of their dark system, fast, silent, sharp. Ray and Myra. They didn't send a warning. They didn't demand surrender. They just arrived, and the nightmare began. Inside the fortress, Vrax warlord Core stood on the command deck. His voice roared across the comms. Raise all shields. Prepare full fleet launch. 2 human ships will not scare us. But the words didn't reach far, because Myra's ship had already breached the outer lines. Her drones moved first, not with fire, but with code. They hacked communication towers, rewired defense systems, and turned auto turrets against their own side. Vrax ships exploded without being touched. Ray came next. His ship didn't fly straight. It weaved through space like smoke and lightning. His weapons didn't spray. They cut like silent blades. Every hit was precise. One Vrax dreadnought spun out of control and slammed into the nest wall. Another exploded from the inside. No alarms, no warning. Inside the nest, Vrax officers panicked. They're inside our systems. Our AI is gone. They single quotes read ... They're not ships. They're demons. Ray's voice echoed across open comms. You hunted innocents. You circled the weak. Now feel what we do to monsters. The Vrax High Warlord growled. We are not afraid of humans. But the lie shook in his throat, because just then, Mira's ship released something new, the Black Storm. A cloud of thousands of dark nanits burst from her ship. They slipped into cracks, into wires, into every exposed system in the nest. Lights flickered, doors slammed, weapons shut down. Even breathing systems froze. Ray followed up with a single strike, a blue core beam that cut through the central defense ring. The Vrax fortress cracked in half. From far away, the galaxy watched. Hundreds of species picked up the signal. Live and raw. The mighty Vrax nest. Falling apart. Burning. Screaming. And above it all, 2 human warships, untouched, circling slowly like dark stars of judgment. Inside the ruins, Warlord Kor tried to escape, but Myra's ship found his pod. She opened a direct link. You circled scientists, children, families. What did you think would happen when their guardian came? Kor spat in fury. You're just soldiers. Ray's voice cut through. No, we're the message Earth sends. After mercy ends, the escape pod exploded into fire. When it was over, only silence remained. The Vraks were broken, their fleets shattered. Their command erased dot and across the stars. Their name, once spoken in fear, now stood beside another word. Human dot back in the Tari homeworld. Captain Lyra sat with her people. They watched the footage again and again. The moment 2 Terran ships erased the Vraks' high nest from the galaxy. One young Tari asked, "Will the humans return?" Lyra smiled faintly. "Only if needed. That's what makes them terrifying." Another whispered, "What are they?" Lyra replied, "They are not conquerors. They are not invaders. They are the storm that arrives when monsters grow too bold." In deep space, far from any known system, Ray and Myra's ships floated quietly. Ray leaned back in his chair. "So, you coming back to Earth?" Myra shook her head. "Earth isn't ready for what we've become." Ray nodded. "Maybe that's a good thing." They sat in silence. 2 weapons. 2 survivors not built for peace, but born for protection. Even if the galaxy would never understand them, it would never forget them. Asterisk.